Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayer's Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today, or rather tonight, we're going to get into Leviticus 19, moral and ceremonial laws. I will provide my commentary and thoughts as I see fit as I read through this. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Every one of you shall revere his mother and his father, and you will keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord, your God. Do not turn to idols, nor make for yourself cast metal gods. I am the Lord, your God. And this is very important to the Christian Bible God because, as we learned yesterday in Leviticus 18, God's direct competitor at that time was a system of deities, and one in particular known as Moloch, who was the god of child sacrifice, which is quite the frightening thing when you really think about it. So, as we read in earlier chapters of Exodus and Leviticus, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments, already the Hebrew people were reverting to their old ways because some of them didn't think Moses was going to come back down the mountain, considering that he took a little bit longer than before. And they were already creating a golden calf. And the gold, a male bull actually is the avatar or the symbol for Moloch. So these are all things to keep in mind going forward because as I read through the Bible, I am seeing a lot of symbology and I'm understanding a lot of themes that are still present in our society today. So, not too much, it seems, has really changed, but let's continue. When you offer a sacrifice of peace offerings to the Lord, you shall offer it so that you might be accepted. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it, or on the next day. And if any remains until the third day, it shall be burned in the fire. If it is eaten at all on the third day, then it is contaminated. It shall not be accepted. Therefore, everyone who eats it shall bear his iniquity, because he has defiled what is holy of the Lord. And that person shall be cut off from among his people. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap up to the edge of your field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not glean bare your vineyard, nor shall you gather every fallen grape of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another. You shall not swear falsely by my name, and so defile the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud your neighbor or rob him. The wages of him who is hired shall not stay with you all night long, with you all night until the morning. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall not do unrighteousness in a court. You shall not be partial to the poor, nor honor the person who is great, but in righteousness you shall judge your neighbor. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, nor shall you stand by while the life of your neighbor is in danger. I am the Lord. I mean, all these things that the Lord is proposing his people do sound pretty much like common sense, don't they? It's how we all should treat one another, but do we? Hmm. Very few and far between actually do right by others. And a lot of times you'll find that when you try to do right by somebody, as I've learned recently, um, sometimes if the person is just a really dark spirit within, they hurt you just for the fun of it. And just so that they can go back to their little evil covens of peers and laugh at you and relish in how they got over on you for whatever reason. It's funny because a few years back, I got to know someone who has really lived their life and who professionally did something questionable that later the law got on them for. And I'm convinced that if this person had not been a person of color, they never would have gotten in trouble. But he said to me, be careful being charitable because no good deed goes unpunished. And that's not something I wanted to believe. But considering something that I'm contending with right now, at this moment, I think back to what this man said. And he was 100% right. And now that I'm contending with a little something that's been very detrimental and hurtful to me, actually something that's put me in danger, to be frank, um, the situation has changed me. I wish it hadn't, but it has. And I will never bend over backwards for anyone else again, which is a shame. But I've been burnt one too many times. But let's continue. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely reason honestly with your neighbor and not suffer sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Leviticus 19:17 and Leviticus 19:18 are definitely very difficult. Not something I can always do. And if that knocks me out of the pool of Christianity, so be it. This world's just a bit too rough. But let's continue. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your livestock breed with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with mixed seed, nor shall your garment be mixed from two types of fabric. Whoever lies with a slave woman who is betrothed to another man and not yet ransomed or given freedom, compensation will be made. Interesting. They shall not be put to death because she was not free. He shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. The priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before the Lord for his sin which he has done, and he will be forgiven for the sin that he has committed. I'll be honest with you. This is something that I do take issue with when it comes to the Bible, Christianity, and whatnot. I don't like how Christianity allows for slavery. I just don't. It's going to allow for slavery, but then it's going to condemn some other things. Feels very political. Very, very political. And keep in mind, this is the modern English version of the Bible. There's no way to know what the original text of the Bible actually said. Something I would love to know when I really think about it. But yeah, I take issue with this. I don't like it. When you come into the land and plant any kind of tree for food, then you shall count the fruit as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. It shall not be eaten. But in the 4th year, all the fruit shall be holy and an offering of praise to the Lord. And in the 5th year, you shall eat the fruit, that it may yield an increase to you. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat anything with the blood in it, nor shall you practice divination or fortune telling. That's interesting. It's actually very interesting when I think about it, because it was the rebel angels, or the fallen angels, who were still angels, but they chose to go against God, that taught certain people fortune telling and divination. You know, and how this is worded, maybe it's just this version of the Bible. You know, it says, I am the Lord. I know this is going to sound bad, but I'm not totally convinced that this is actually the Creator, God, speaking. I'm wondering if this is another angel who is trying to sway this group of people from another group of angels. Because you have to remember that the angels were, running around doing all kinds of things in biblical times. I don't know. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor make any tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. So all of you out there with tattoos, you're kind of screwed when it comes to Christianity. You're not supposed to do it. I guess this is one of the one things that, maybe God will look favorably upon me for. I don't have any tattoos. Now listen to this. Do not prostitute your daughter and cause her to be defiled, lest the land fall into whoredom and become full of wickedness. Well, that's what pretty much happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot was willing to offer his daughters to protect 2 angels who came to drag him out of there, which was disturbing when you really think about it. But yeah, don't prostitute your daughter. Don't do it. Years ago, I knew a biological mother-daughter duo who entered the adult entertainment industry. I hope life worked out for them, because they did leave that world. They did. And I hope that God forgives them. Anyways, You shall keep my Sabbaths and revere my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not turn to spirits through mediums or necromancers. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord, your God. You shall rise up before a gray head and honor the face of an old man, and fear your God. I am the Lord. When a foreigner journeys with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. The foreigner who dwells with you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment regarding measures in length, weight, and quantity. You shall have honest balances, honest weights, and honest ephah, and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore, you shall observe all my statutes and all my judgments and do them. I am the Lord. Well, these are some pretty concrete requests and rules of the Lord in Leviticus 19. Very strict, very, very strict. Nowadays, I would say a large percentage of people, at least in the United States of America, society, break these laws, break these rules. Yep. So tomorrow we will go into Leviticus 20, which revolves around the penalties for violating the law. And that shall be interesting. I'm not going to read ahead. We'll get to it, hopefully, tomorrow or later today. So everyone have a good evening. Thank you for listening. And sweet dreams to you. Bye-bye.